Hey, this is Patty Negri, and you are listening to the Paranormal Zone.
Look, I know the supernatural is something that isn't supposed to happen, but it does happen.
A ghostly apparition in the dark of night.
Human sacrifice, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria.
Mike, did you have a favorite monster as a kid?
A favorite monster?
He has such a favorite monster, he muted himself immediately.
Yeah, that's a coughing thing.
Oh, you were coughing. I see.
I had a couple of favorite ones. Going back to the Universal monsters, the famous monsters of Filmland.
That's what I'm referring to. Yeah. Hey, by the way, can you push your microphone just a wee bit closer to your fuzzy face?
My fuzzy face.
Oh, see, there you sound a lot better now.
How's
there? That sounds way better. Okay. Well, continue.
I loved Creature from the Black Lagoon. That was a big one for me. Big one. Yes.
That's right.
But
yeah, I believe you've told that to me before. I should have known that.
Yeah, that's okay. But I did have this 7-foot tall poster that I sent away for it from a comic book I had. This was probably 1969, maybe something like that. That time frame, and it was a large 7-foot tall poster of Frankenstein's monster.
Oh heck yeah!
And it was so cool, and it looked great in the comic book, and it looked all this creepy, eerie stuff and everything, and it said glowing and the eyes glow in the dark.
Sweet.
It's really just hyping it up, and
oh yeah,
it was like $1, I think it was, for postage and handling kind of thing, and so I got my mom to help me send away for it, and here it comes in this little package, and I'm like, wow, seems really small. And I open up, and it's like this garbage bag consistency material.
Right. Yes.
And it was white, and it's like, and it came in 2 pieces, like the top half and the bottom half of Frankenstein's monster.
Yeah.
And, the graphics on it were kind of, cool for a little kid. But then the glow in the dark eyes. Oh man, the glow in the dark eyes. Here, along with the poster, you get this little stickers, these 2 round glow in the dark stickers that you put on the eye where the eyes are.
You put on the eye holes.
Yeah,
oh man,
to make them glow in the dark. But I loved it though. I tell you,
well,
I wish I had it now. I bet it's very collectible. I'm sure not a lot of them lasted over the years.
Yes, and especially due to their fragile nature.
Yeah. Well, but if they're in the material of a garbage bag, I'm sure they should last, 10,000 years?
Yeah.
In a landfill or something like that? I don't know.
In the spirit of Halloween, since it is a spooky month, that reminds me of, I believe it might have been my first Halloween costume. We have pictures of that way back in the 70s. Little tiny, wee little Patrick. Smaller than, even
boy.
Smaller than I am now. Yes, a wee little boy.
He's one of the wee people. The wee
folk. I can't I can't imagine that I had a say in choosing this, but apparently I wanted to be Woody Woodpecker, and so
well,
and the outfit was similar to how you described it. You remember those unbelievably cheap masks, those plastic masks.
Definitely not flame retardant.
No, with the string around your back of your head, and then basically, like you said,
caught in your hair.
Yeah, and then like you said, it was basically like a garbage bag, with a hole in it that you put over your head.
Yeah,
and it had, it was like red and white or whatever color Woody Woodpecker was, and I was ready to go.
I could just see you with this little plastic mask on, with this little beak, little wooden.
Oh, I can
Woody
find that
Woodpecker
picture.
beak.
I would be happy to show you that picture. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a classic. I think my brothers were standing next to me, and they had the same pathetically limp costumes, and they were like Spider-Man and the Incredible Hulk, and there I was, Woody Woodpecker of all things.
Well, but you asked for it though, didn't you?
But like I said, I
Didn't
can't
that's what
imagine
you-
asking for it, but maybe I did. I don't know.
Well, Woody Woodpecker. That was a great cartoon.
I have no memories of ever watching it.
Well,
But-
when you got this bird, that this wisecracking bird that's a real.
Well, I know who
asshole.
Woody Woodpecker is. Yes.
It's just a fun thing to watch. I mean, you appreciated it as a young child.
So I asked you off the top of the bat, off the top of the show here, who your favorite monster was, because that's kind of what we're focusing on here. I was thinking you might have went towards the Frankenstein way, because Frankenstein from the old Universal movies, when I would have a chance to see them on reruns on television or whatever, when I was little, I loved Frankenstein and was terrified of Frankenstein. Just, I mean, looking back, half of it is, if not all of it, is the acting of Boris Karloff. It was just so good.
Can't be matched.
Can't be matched. And the idea of this basically walking zombie-esque, undead creature, that misunderstood, of course.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And the way he portrayed that, between the good that was actually in this monster that was created, but
quote unquote monster.
Right. But but it was like a young child's soul that was just like destroyed by this evil mad scientist, that put into the body of this beast,
Yep.
And what else conclusion could have came from in that movie than what it did?
Yeah. The innocence of the creature, the innocuous nature. How's that for a word? Innocuous nature of the creature.
But what he did to that little girl, though, that was uncalled for.
That was uncalled for, and that was banned for a while, wasn't it? That was a deleted scene, but I bring that up to bring this up. We're diving into some of the influence, some of the inspiration for the famous fictional Frankenstein monster character. We're going to dive into some of the Frankenstein-esque horrors, Mike, that we're talking about. The cliched, almost mad scientists back in the day. I mean, were they mad? No, but damn. Some of the crap that they did back in the day, Mike, oh, Nelly. I'm not sure if... I'd personally be able to handle that, but we're talking about some of the inspiration for, as I mentioned, Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, and we're going to segue into any number of avenues of conversation focusing on that. Heck, we might even talk into some of the ethical dilemmas of such creations, which may, in fact, segue into other ethical and moral dilemmas we have nowadays, Mike, with this little thing called AI. Oh, man, that's terrifying in itself.
Yeah,
but we shall see. We shall see where the conversation goes. But as per usual, if you are new to the program, thank you very much for checking us out. This is the Paranormally Zone, your weekly dose of all things hell, you guessed it, paranormal, strange, and mysterious. My name is Patrick, and I'm joined, as always, by my co-host with the ghost, the paranormal poster boy himself. What is he today? He is the cranky old man, Mr. Mike Arbno, and it is good to see you as always, Mike. I just met you.
Lawn.
Get off my lawn. I just met you in person. Saw you in person a couple days ago.
You did.
We made another jaunt to Standing Rock, and we had another fairly feeble attempt at paranormal investigations. But hey, they're always fun.
But as feeble as they may be.
As feeble as they may be. But yeah, we usually open up every episode with our brief Ghost Gab segments, and today is no exception. I wanted to talk about one particular experience up on Standing Rock. And no, not being visited by that lovely herd of cows, which was in itself.
That was awesome.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
I called them in.
You did. Yeah, absolutely. It was really cool. So, there was a couple of them that they must have been the leaders, Mike. They were kind of taking charge, and a couple of them were staring at us for the longest time, and they slowly started making their way up the hill towards us, followed by the rest of the herd. And one of them intimidated me because
Yeah.
he left his feet.
Yeah.
He was
kind
he kind of lunged towards me, and it's like, whoa, hey, back off there, big fella. But
little hop and a bound there towards Patrick. And then, I look over to Patrick, and he's on this little incline of a hill. And at the bottom of this incline is this barbed wire fence. And you were like this tiny little man in this tall grass. I don't mean that in a derogatory way, but I mean,
no, yeah, you just saw the top of my poofy hair
yeah,
sticking up above the grass.
But then seeing this cow all of a sudden just taking a leap and a bound towards you.
Yeah, it was kind of shocking not shocking, but it was startling.
It's like it wanted to jump that fence and just play with you or something. I don't know.
But when we were at Standing Rock, again, a place that we absolutely revere, and we go there over and over it's not just for the classic shits and giggles, so to speak, Mike.
Correct.
We absolutely love returning to that place, very spiritual in nature. And during one of our EVP sessions, Mike pulled out the old dowsing rods.
I did.
And we had an experience there with the dowsing rod experiments.
It actually happened.
Would you
twice.
care? Yes, it did. And I managed to film this, and it is available on the Patreon page if you're interested. It's a short little 3-minute clip. And Mike, walk us through what happened up there as part of our Ghost Gab segment. I thought it was pretty intriguing.
It was. I was holding the dowsing rods, and I had asked some questions about if it was okay if we were here, things like that, the simple things. I did at one point ask if there was somebody present, if they would move the dowsing rods or, like in towards, or either cross over or to have that left one move in, which is what it did.
Yeah, we basically wanted to simplify the questions to make the dowsing rods cross, and then if they do so in response, then maybe, can you make them straighten out again?
Exactly.
So, but yeah, go ahead, Mike. What happened? It was kind of cool.
Yeah, it did. It did respond with crossing. The left one crossed over to the right side, and I kind of asked the same question: if it's okay, if you can answer again, make it straighten out, and it actually did straighten out.
As if
on command.
Kind of on command, per our requests.
Right.
And we were both very clear about, you especially, you right away, you said thank you very much for doing that, and it's it takes a lot of energy to do it. And yeah, it was really, really cool because it, as you mentioned on the video, you're like, the wind wasn't doing that. There's no way the wind made that move. The wind was coming from directly behind you. Anyhow, the dowsing rods were in front of you, so the wind couldn't have even barely affected them, if at all, which it didn't.
Right.
And when it crossed, we both said thank you. And then we said, if that is the same person who made them cross, can you maybe straighten that out again? And as if on cue, very slowly, which was another intriguing part. It wasn't like it just, flipped over.
It did, right. It
went very slowly, very determinedly. Is that a word?
Exactly. And just before that, didn't I say, I know this is what we've asked you this before, but we really need to ask you this again. And we know it takes the energy to do that.
Right.
And that's when, when it was coming back, it was slower, in increments, like something was prodding it to come along, but didn't have as much energy as it did before when it just swung it around.
Right. Yeah. I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah. I like that. It was, and I'm really glad that I captured that on video because, as you said, you had already been doing that. Right. And it had responded to you beforehand. So we actually had 3 consecutive replies. Mm-hmm. Now, again, skeptics, pseudo-skeptics, non-believers are going to say, what the hell? That's a bunch of hooey. That's a bunch of garbage. And you know what? We get it. This is in by no manner, shape, or form evidence. We get it.
Of course.
Yeah, but it just was kind of cool. We believe there's a chance that was legit movement caused by some form of energy, and it was, dare I say, impressive. So
Yeah, I felt impressed by it. You know, like you said, it's not proof of anything, but
no,
you know, it was a great personal experience. But you know, we did, like you said, we were lucky enough to get that on video as well. So
for sure,
it's there. People
it's
can
there.
see it and have their own thoughts, and they can.
And what a
laugh,
night too, man.
laugh at us
Was it?
if they will.
Yeah, exactly. Feel free. Feel free. But what a beautiful evening it was. It
Oh,
was
it's absolutely
so
gorgeous up there. So comfortable.
so nice up there that evening, and as per usual, as per our usual paranormal attempts, and to no shock to longtime listeners, we were going to stay up there longer, and I was going to pull out the old night vision camcorder, but hey,
Yeah.
old dum dum here forgot to bring the flash discs, the flash cards, and nope, no way to record anything on those good old night vision cameras. So I was really happy with myself on that one. So
Yeah.
we did take some Polaroids at your house.
We did.
I am excited about that potential as a quote unquote paranormal device, maybe capturing some imagery that you don't necessarily see on your standard digital cameras nowadays, Mike.
It's a possibility.
Did those pictures develop any more at all, or were they fully developed?
They did brighten up a little bit more. There's nothing that I could really see just by looking at them real quick.
Yeah, there was nothing on the ones that
No.
we took. I only took 4 because, good God, that film was expensive, ridiculous.
Yeah, and I was saying before, I remember having one in the 70s, and
Yes.
and as a kid, even I remember somehow I afforded the film and the camera. I don't know.
And we have that.
So
Talk about
now.
Talk about cool audio that we captured. We hear Mike just giggling like a little school child at the sound that the Polaroid was making, because you were just like, "Oh, I just love that so much."
Well, it just brought me back so quick. I mean, and I hadn't heard that sound, of course, since way back.
Right.
Just like kind of shot me back there to it.
I get you.
It was interesting.
Well, Mike, we're talking Frankenstein horrors. We're talking, the idea of perhaps pushing the boundaries too far, perhaps playing the role of God, defying our own ethics, our own moralities, in an attempt to, in fact, defy death.
Yes.
Are you familiar with the man named Giovanni Aldini? We're going to start off there, Mike. Oh, yeah? You know him personally?
Well,
you know the guy?
Absolutely not.
Oh.
But he did have something to do with one of his relatives about galvanic something or other.
His uncle, Luigi Galvini, I believe you are referring to. Yes. Sir. And I believe Mr. Luigi Galvini was the one who, I don't know if you call it patented, but who coined the phrase galvanism.
And one wore a blue suit, and they raced all over the place.
That too.
Mario and Luigi. Or somebody.
Are you done?
Go ahead.
Well, it's funny you said that too, because apparently today is the 40th anniversary of the debut of the Nintendo, Super Nintendo, whatever, the very first Nintendo, 40 years ago.
Really?
Today.
Good. That's cool.
Lord. Yeah, Mike, Giovanni Aldini, also referred to as the real life Dr. Frankenstein, was a man, Mike, who electrified the dead.
Yeah.
Quite literally. Now, the idea that electricity could be used to jumpstart life doesn't come from the fictional Frankenstein, Mike, doesn't come from the fictional Dr. Frankenstein. Giovanni Aldini's grisly experiment sought to prove that it was, in fact, possible to revive the dead. One particular example, and perhaps the most well-known example, occurred on a frosty day, Mike, in January of 1803. You remember 1803? What a good year that was. No?
No.
Okay.
Keep
Just
going.
wondered.
I'm getting enthralled.
Okay. Well, sorry. Well, yeah. Anyways, a couple of people in the crowd yelled at both Aldini and the corpse.
What are you, a couple of nitwits?
Yeah. So
I can't even
those
be what I want to.
well, goddamn body's falling apart. All right. Anyways, convicted criminal, even though he was. Well, we'll get to this later. This Mr. George Forster, who was executed, Mike, at Newgate Prison in 1803.
Did they hang him?
From what I've learned, he was kind of unfairly executed because there was like literally no foolproof evidence against his alleged crimes.
They wanted to get vengeance on something, so they took it out on whoever they could.
Poor old George Forster. But George had been convicted of the supposed drowning of his wife and daughter. And George's body was left hanging in temperatures that were 2 degrees below freezing for 2 hours after his execution.
Mm-hmm.
So being perfectly chilled, so to speak.
Aged
he was then
in the freezer.
Yes, he was then hastily carted the mile-long journey to London's Royal College of Surgeons Anatomy Theatre. Now, inside the room was a, I guess, must-see event, according to science historian Ian Mouse. That's what it says. Iwan Mouse.
What?
That's his name. Iwan Mouse.
What? Now, you cannot go any further until you explain what. What?
Iwan. That's his first name.
Okay.
Iwan.
And you're pronouncing this correctly.
The middle name, or the middle name, the last name is Moros.
Morus. Oh, Morus.
U.S. Moros.
Okay, go ahead.
Now, the Oval Theater, regardless of the pronunciation.
More. Anyway, go.
Now, this Oval Theater was packed with British scientists, dignitaries, and doctors. All of their eyes focused on a wooden slab covered by Forster's body. At the helm was one 40-year-old Giovanni Aldini, the aforementioned Giovanni Aldini. A man who, again, according to historian Owen Morris.
You better keep that as a soundbite. You got all this crap on me. You got to get that on me.
All right. I will do my best. You have to remind me. All right. He'd spent most of the last decade working to exonerate his uncle, the great Luigi Galvini, the aforementioned Luigi, a part of the Mario Brothers.
Yes.
Explaining that Galvini had been dismissed from the faculty at the University of Bologna for refusing to swear allegiance to that dastardly little man Napoleon. After losing his position, he died penniless and hopeless a year later. But according to Enlightenment historian Thomas Broman, electrification, the process of charging, Mike, something with electricity, go figure.
Yes.
That was already a fad in Europe, particularly in 18th century salons. Prominent, which is kind of funny, but apparently that was a prominent gathering place for intellectuals. We'll hang out at the salon, get our nails done.
We even have toilets in the back.
Yeah. Oh my God, that would be upper super high class, right?
Yeah.
But, however, Mike, it was in that theater that Aldini, Mr. Luigi Aldini, sought to prove, no, sorry, not Luigi, Mr. Giovanni Aldini sought to prove his uncle's theory of galvanism. or the medical use of electricity to stimulate nerves and muscles. That theory, says Broman, held that electricity flowed from the brain and supplied the body with vital force. Galvini himself referred to this phenomenon as animal electricity, believing that it was, in fact, a distinct form of energy.
So,
in short, by charging... Oh, go ahead, Mike. Sorry.
I'm just saying these things that he's experimenting on, I mean, they seem, the backstories to them are kind of dark in that, but look at the science that comes from.
Oh, yeah, I know.
These things.
It's just in our... I think it's impossible for us, especially nowadays, to not think of it in such a grisly, kind of grotesque manner,
but it was
visualize
so
it in our brain.
Yeah.
But in short, by charging George Forster's corpse with direct electrical current, Giovanni Aldini hoped to prove that electricity in the body did not end with death and could in fact be used to revive the deceased.
Yeah, and they hooked Forster up to that, and boy, he danced on that table like John Travolta.
He danced on that, or Fred Astaire, either one. I'm not sure if it's in this article, but it was in another one I was reading earlier, that one of the places that he was hooked up was in his rectum. So it was like, he was dead. He couldn't feel it, but still.
Well, yeah, but still,
it was like there's one charge that was on the side of his...
moving.
Yeah, one charge that was on the side of his forehead, and the other one was on his rectum. So,
Why and for what reason?
Well, that's why they were scientists, Mike, and we were just silly podcast hosts.
Yeah, they're hiding something behind being a scientist. It's not. That's just sick. Anyway.
Now, the other star of the main event, of course, was the corpse of George Forster. R.I.P. Was an unwitting, if not potentially innocent bystander.
Says Morales.
Yes, I don't know. The evidence against him was all circumstantial. No one saw him plunge his wife and daughter into London's Paddington Canal, as we mentioned earlier. Unlike the guillotines of France, Forster would keep his head at execution, but there was no guarantee after death. Yeah. After he died, there's no guarantee that his head would still remain, because guess what? That's where a lot of doctors found their toys to play with.
Mm-hmm.
While Forster may have been a victim, Aldini certainly didn't see himself that way. He'd actually risked quite a bit to be there, Mike. With the French Revolution still in the backdrop, it was a dangerous time to be alive. Iwan Moros described Aldini as a nonconformist in opposition to the church. The theory of animal electricity would have been antithetical to religion, because it meant that human potential wasn't controlled by this soul. By the way, this is an article that we are sharing from www.discovermagazine.com. And for reasons like these, Aldini likely would have lived on the edges of polite political society. Aldini himself thought little of the bodies, Mike, that he attempted to revive.
Of course.
Well, yeah, why would he? I love you. I don't know.
Can I stick this up your rectum?
I'll take you out to dinner afterwards. If you come back to life, that is.
Yeah, okay.
Of course, those that he experimented on were often the bodies of executed criminals or people from the fringes of society. Historian Helen MacDonald writes that Aldini loved to, quote, make the dead perform tricks.
Yeah, I told you, he's a sick bastard.
I know, it's like, come on here. Where is this just sick pleasure, or is this truly for scientific advancement,
Look it, watch. I can make his leg kick. Stand right here.
So I don't know if the gestures like this meant anything in early 1800s, but I'm just picturing the entire body lying totally still, but except the one middle finger just goes. I don't know if that would have meant anything in 1803, but
and all the people up in the forum up there that are watching this being done, they're gently applauding their their amazement.
Well, I think it might be in this article too, but I read earlier that one gentleman legit fainted, and there's another claim that someone died from shock after seeing these bodies starting to jiggle and shake and literally they collapsed.
I'm sorry to be laughing.
No, you're not.
Oh, look, I think I wet myself.
Right.
Oh, no. Here I go again.
I can see him fainting like
Yeah.
what's his name? Bean, like he just that look that he gets on his face. Anyway.
No, I know what you're saying. You, Mr. Bean, you're referring to?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, I
yes,
didn't
of
know I
course.
had to put the Mister on, but
Well, you just said Bean, and so my nerd self went to the actor, the last name Bean, the guy who played
Mr. Bean.
Played Ned Stark in Game of Thrones. Anyways, so the crowd, Mike, the crowd.
They
They cooed.
with
They
enthusiasm.
Further, Aldini commended so-called, quote, enlightened laws in England that allowed criminals to atone for their crimes after execution by becoming subjects of experimentation. That's kind of interesting. You can atone for your crimes, Mike, if you allow your body to be played with after death, basically.
Yeah.
Now, as we mentioned earlier, the crowd cooed and awed with enthusiasm as Aldini applied electrical rods to Forster's body. They watched in awe as his, quote, jaw quivered, his left eye opened, and his face convulsed.
And he said, "Oh, dang!
No, why'd you have to put it there?
What?"
Now, they did this for 8 hours. 8 hours of experimentation
That shows
followed.
How sick they are too.
Yeah, it's like going, okay, let's see how much. Let's see if we can get his toe to jiggle. Oh, let's see if we can get that one part of his to move. Yeah. And you know what one part I'm talking about.
Yeah. Yeah.
And of course, the wording here is terrible after I said that. The climax came when
Grand finale.
The climax came when electric arcs were attached to Forster's ear and rectum. Yep. And the, quote, resulting muscular contractions gave an appearance of reanimation. Eventually, the batteries died, thank goodness, and Forster was still dead. Aldini would later describe the event in his book, An Account of the Late Improvements in Galvanism. Ultimately, he considered the experiment a failure, as Forster hadn't sprung back to life. Well, yeah.
But boy, was there a smell of barbecue in the air.
Yes, exactly. I know. People holding marshmallows over his corpse. Doctors who witnessed the event, Mike, say they considered it a miracle. And okay, again, this is 200.
Of course, yes.
This is 220 years ago. Yeah, I can only imagine being absolutely blown away by this. I mean, electricity in itself was unbelievably amazing, and then you have to see, dead bodies kind of, quote unquote, reanimate a bit.
Well,
move, the eyes open. I would have fainted seeing the eyeball open. That's just
Mary would have said nope, and she would have been gone. As she's known.
Now, animal electricity might prove to be only partially true. While the muscles of humans and animals contract due to electricity, the same vital force does not come directly from the brain. While electrical force might twitch muscles, it cannot revive the dead. Yes, and they eventually learned that, although decades and decades of experiments followed. But what is perhaps most famous about this is that it indeed inspired the work of author Mary Shelley, as we mentioned. Exactly. How could it not?
Yeah.
In the preface of her novel, Frankenstein, Shelley wrote that galvanism had proven that life could be revived.
Mm-hmm.
As she began to write Frankenstein in 1816, she might have been picturing that same anatomy theater where Forster was put on display. So that's a brief, that's one example of Mr. Forster's work, I guess. Kind of the prime example. Gruesome. I think it's safe to say it's gruesome. But you just have to picture these scientists, Mike. Like, I'm looking at this image. this newspaper drawing from back in the day of Giovanni Aldini performing experiments. And he's sitting there, he's laying with this, he's got the slab there, and he's got his little helper next to him, and he's got a body.
No head.
And the decapitated head. Yeah. So he's just hooking up electrical currents any which place he felt. And,
and
yeah,
felt
it's
more
just-
than once, probably.
right. So it's I understand the desire back then, especially, I mean, it's always, death will always be the great unknown, but even more so back then for sure.
Well, think of it at that time, like discovering what is in the body and discovering what's possible with the body, during life, and then after death, being able to really explore, what makes the body work. I mean,
Yeah.
at that time, that was like us going into space for the first time.
For sure. Yeah.
And
it was
it's
that
like,
much of a
exactly. It was
much of a mind-blowing event.
Yeah,
essentially.
The more they dove into it, the more they learned, and that they just, it would just open up everything to wanting to know everything that they can about the human body.
I'm just looking at some parts of this other article we are going to share now. This is from the dailynexus.com. It's another article on Giovanni Aldini, but I wanted to share just a few tidbits from it. It says here that spontaneous generation was the idea that life could be created from non-living things, and that was not an outlandish idea at all at that time. Many scientists believed in this concept. Many people in general believed in this concept. And in fact, use it to explain instances such as cheese being left in a dark corner, producing mice, or the presence of maggots on rotting meat. Isn't that fascinating to think about that? They're thinking that this life, like the maggots, was actually created from the rotting meat. I mean, because it wasn't understood where they truly came from. They're like, oh my God, this life is being produced by this dead matter.
Right. They don't see the eggs of the fly on there. So
but even more so, they don't see the mice being attracted to the cheese in the corner. They just see it as mice going, they came from the cheese. Yeah. It's so hard for us nowadays to wrap our minds around that way of thinking. It really is.
And relatively speaking, it wasn't that long ago.
It wasn't that long ago at all.
These things. Yeah.
No. Oh my gosh, no. But was there any truth, Mike, to any of these theories? As it turns out, Galvini was indeed correct in his idea that an electrical stimulus can cause muscle contraction. We sort of touched on that already. However, his hypothesis that this reaction is due to an innate vital force within all living tissues is, of course, inaccurate. While Aldini's experiments on corpses certainly took place, the belief that these bodies were being brought back to life was, of course, untrue. With the modern technology we have today, would the creation of Frankenstein be scientifically possible? That's kind of intriguing. What do people know that they haven't shared with us yet, Mike? I mean, are there still secrets being held from us, from the general public? Do we have the ability to create life and just, I don't know, that's being withheld, or is it literally impossible and will always remain impossible?
Yeah, it's a good question. Well, there's so much that we don't know and probably will never know.
Yeah,
about what's going on behind the scenes, kind of thing. Things that we couldn't imagine. Yeah, we could get deep into that conversation about many things. UFOs and whatever.
I was just going to say that you read my mind on that one for sure. A couple more tidbits from this article before we move on to another. It says here that although dismembering body parts, Mike, back in the day, was a very common practice among scientists, the idea of organ and bodily transplantation was still very young. However, other Frankenstein-like experiments have been conducted by more modern scientists, including Vladimir Demikov, who was a pioneer of organ transplantation. In fact, one of his, this is just grotesque to me. One of his most famous experiments involved attaching the upper body of a small dog to the neck of a large dog. This is where it's bizarre. The two dogs were successfully able to eat and drink separately. But his longest experiments / subjects only survived for up to a month. Despite the questionable ethics of these experiments, Demikov paved the way for organ transplantation in modern medicine. I know, I get it. That all has to start somewhere, but my God, these poor animals. It's like, okay, I'm going to take this freaking torso, this upper body of this tiny guy, and I'm going to sew him onto this guy, and I'm going to see how long they live.
Well, did it stop with that, or did he?
Well, no, we've advanced, thankfully, hopefully. And I mean, we hear all those horrific experiments that, like the Angel of Death over in lovely Nazi Germany back in the day, all the crap that he was pulling on, trying to attach heads and other different things to other human bodies. And it's just on living people. And these grotesque experiments in the name of science.
Yeah, and a lot of them, I think, were in the name of sadistic.
Yeah. 100%. He got his jollies off. The Angel of Death. I'm drawing a blank on his name. I should. Yeah. Yes. Thank you. There you go. Josef Mengele.
Josef Mengele.
With the medical advancements that we have today, it might be possible, Mike, to do procedures like head transplantation, the grafting of a human head onto another body. Sergio Canavero, a controversial Italian neurosurgeon, argues that a head transplant is in fact feasible and claims he will be the one to be able to perform it successfully in the near future. Regardless of however unethical this may in fact be, a head transplant may in fact be in our near future.
Well,
Mike's just shaking his head. No pun intended. A head transplant. Mike's shaking his head. Ah, ha, ha, ha.
Okay, so what would be the benefits of this? I mean, like if you have a person that's paralyzed from the neck down.
Yes, exactly. That's a wonderful example.
Yeah, but
the first sound from Mike's mouth after his head is transplanted. There he is, right there. He's just happy to be there.
That's the first sound that comes out when my head is removed from my body to be transplanted.
Well, actually, I think this one would be that.
Ow!
Yeah.
Just stop cutting! Stop it! Ow! Stop it!
Ow! I can still feel it.
No, exactly. So this next article that we are going to peruse, it has the lovely title, Mike. This is from the daily.jstor.org, a nonprofit library for the intellectually curious.
How about for the stupidly curious?
That too.
Because I don't think I'll make it into the intellectually
curious. Come on. Well, this is a natural science article with the very catchy title, The Decapitation Experiments of one Jean Caesar Legalios. Ever heard of that guy? I haven't.
No. The decapitation?
Well, Mr. Jean Caesar was a French scientist, Mike, and he conducted a series of gruesome experiments in his quest to discover the true limits of life and death.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, this took place during the early 1800s. The bloody chaos of post-revolution France left many citizens uncomfortably familiar with the concept of beheading. Ugh. Some horrified observers noted that the severed heads often took on an expression of pain after they had been sliced from the body. This post-mortem, quote, grimace fascinated most scientists, but not French physician Jean Caesar Legalios. Legalios, according to science historian Tobias Chung. That's his name.
Everyone, Tobias Chung tonight.
It's not. Yeah. At least it's not the island. So anyway,
Okay, that's old.
well, I know it is.
It's gotten very lame, Patrick.
Okay, whatever.
I got feeling for you.
No,
Okay.
okay, sorry. I pressed the wrong button. That's okay. It's still kind of funny.
So, yeah, it's always nice to be reminded of that.
Yeah. Now, Legalios didn't care much about the rolling heads. He just looked at the headless trunk lying on the other side of the guillotine.
The headless trunk.
The headless trunk. Sounds like a cryptid.
Yeah. Seen down in the bayou, you got the headless trunk.
You got the headless trunk down in the
You go
bayou.
down in the swamp in the late in the full moonshine. You see the headless trunk. You better run.
You better run. You run from the trunk.
Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry everybody for listening to this.
I apologize.
Now, Legalios was a professional vivisectionist, a field upon which we can now look back and think, yikes! Vivisectionists performed experiments on living animals to see how different parts of the body interacted with a particular interest in the nervous system. This usually involved, of course, the slicing, cutting, splitting, and sometimes decapitation of bodies. Now, good old Jean Caesar Legalios was searching for the body's, quote, seat of life. The source, the seat of life, which he described as the source of its most vital functions. Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. How do the body operate? Sans the senses, sans digestion, sans cognitive perception. Of course, to do this, he needed to reduce a body down to its fundamental components. What would be your body's fundamental component, Mike?
I have none. I don't have one.
Nothing. You've forgotten your fundamentals?
Everything's either non-existent or broken. And so,
Oh.
yeah. But
Yeah, I know. Oh.
Anyway.
Now, Legalios' typical modus operandi, Mike, involved decapitating rabbits, of course, with a tiny guillotine.
Yeah. It's a tiny guillotine. And especially made one for frogs.
Oh, man. That was a teeny tiny guillotine.
Well, they have no neck, so you got to specially make them you got to strap the frog in there a special way to.
Oh, speaking of frogs, that's what Mr. Giovanni, that was one of the things that Giovanni's uncle, Mr. Luigi, that he did quite often. He made those dead frogs jump and stuff and made the legs just go, wee-haw, hoo-ah, hee-haw. It's like, whoa.
You'd make a toad play a little fiddle.
Yeah, maybe. Hello, my baby. Hello, my honey.
Sunrise.
Oh, dang it. Now he got going on the sunrise thing again. Inside joke there, everybody.
Yeah. No, listen to you on Patreon and all.
Yeah, there you go.
I think I sing it a lot down there, don't I?
You do, quite often.
Up at Standing Rock.
So the tiny guillotine used, yeah, right. There's a teaser. That's going to make people sign up for sure.
Anyway.
He cut, decapitating rabbits' heads with his teeny tiny guillotine, cutting off their appendages, quickly sewing the openings shut. Then using a pocket watch to time how long it took the animal's trunk to in fact die.
That's ridiculous.
Man.
Then he sold the feet for Lucky Charms.
Yeah, from little thumpers. Sometimes he would leave the spine intact. Sometimes he would sever specific nerves. Chung recounts one particularly cruel operation where Legalios reduced a rabbit down to a skeleton, some muscles, and the spinal cord.
With it still alive.
Laying, quote, the basic trunk machine of its life before the eyes of its observer. Imagine the frickin' suffering and pain that this poor animal was going through.
Yeah. Yeah. And
now with pocket watch in hand, though, in the name of science, Legalios would eyeball the duration of the trunk's twitchy movement as each organ system shut down. And then, very scientifically, poke it with a needle to
Can you feel this?
Exactly. Wince if you can hear me.
Tell me when he can start to feel this.
God.
Anyway.
Yeah, he would scientifically poke it with a needle to double check that it was in fact dead. But there's more.
Mirror up to its nose.
A little teeny tiny mirror. Okay.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Legalios frequently went beyond the pathological to modify the limits of life and death. After the bodies stopped moving, he wasn't done with them. No siree, not old Legalios.
I'm still laughing about the tiny mirror. I'm sorry. Okay.
To Mr. Legalios, to him, these mangled corpses were only, quote, mostly dead. Wow. That sounds like the Princess Bride, doesn't it? Does it not?
It does. Yeah.
Resurrection, not healing, was Legalios's main objective. That's right. You heard that right. You read it right. Legalios tried to directly reanimate or resurrect these trunks. Chung writes that, like life, death passed for Legalios through stages and states. There were partial and general deaths of animals, and death was only absolute if it referred to the natural death of an individual. Asphyxia inevitably seemed to be the primary cause of death of headless bodies. Oh, no shite, Mr. Twister.
I can't breathe.
I know.
Well, you don't have a head. Good luck with that.
Can't find my nose holes.
I know.
Can't breathe.
Can I breathe out of my trunk? Will that work?
So, of course,
Can you put a straw in my neck hole, please? Anyway.
And I very accidentally, but almost perfectly punned, I said, and of corpse. I meant to say, of course.
Oh, boy, we're rolling now.
Woo!
Patrick just went over the wall.
I did. Legalios would sometimes attempt to resurrect corpses through artificial inflation of the lungs, probably with a giant straw.
Well, if I put the air back in, it'll probably be all right.
Yeah, maybe another head will pop out. I don't know.
He also transplanted the organs of living animals into the dead trunks. Oh, yeah, of course. Cutting up open living animals just to shove them into the dead body of another.
Inside the dead corpse of a animal, what they put a head inside, like.
Well, he'd have that dead trunk of whatever animal.
Yeah.
That he finally concluded to be, not mostly dead, but dead, and then he'd slice open a living animal. Cut it open while it's alive, and then cut out its organs and shove them into the dead trunk.
Yeah.
And that was, of course, an attempt to replace the natural circulation with fresh, oxygenated blood.
And it failed.
Miserably.
Miserably.
Now, of course, I know we giggle, but we're not making light of this. It's mutilation, but...
Yeah.
But, although these experiments may, in fact, haunt your nightmares, yeah, I got some nasty visions in my head. They also fundamentally shaped physiology as we understand it today. Yeah, we get it, especially the importance of the spinal cord.
Mm-hmm.
And it helped to dispel the notion of a body being powered by a single entity, such as a soul or brain.
You know what? If we did not... Hey, I've got a personal... connection to this a little bit.
Really?
If this was not done at this time to where we could learn things now, I myself, with the problems that I'm not going into my physical ailments or anything.
Okay, you're not gonna have a different head sewn onto your body, are you?
No. Well, I wouldn't mind.
or vice versa, I should say. Yeah.
Like a face
okay.
on my right shoulder.
Oh man.
Kind of towards the back a little bit.
What was that supposed sideshow freak again? Yeah. Who had like a head on the back of his head?
Two-Faced Tommy, I think they called him.
Oh, what was his name?
I don't know.
shoot.
I don't know.
Sorry, I interrupted.
But anyway, the things that's going on with
Two-faced Tommy. Just finally sank in.
that just popped out of my head.
Sorry.
My one head, not the other one. but anyway,
the head you think with,
yeah,
mostly.
But anyway,
go ahead.
With my right arm that doesn't work very well, and the problems that I'm having with my neck, back, spine, lower back, all that stuff. If that, they did nerve testing on my arm and shoulders and back, putting the probes in and like hitting certain nerves and things, and it's like making them do this and that.
Oh yeah, sure.
That's kind of like a precursor to this what I had done. I mean, without that, I wouldn't know
I get what you're saying.
These problems coming from and what needs to be fixed, what they need to do to fix it. And so I'm kind of feeling that little bit of a connection there. It doesn't make it, the mutilation thing better. But
I hope the next time you go, I hope your next neurosurgeon visit, he's not like trying to stuff pumping organs into your body from some other patient who just recently passed away.
I've got just a small petri dish of liver.
Oh my God! I thought you were going to say something else there. Whew.
What?
Nothing.
Never mind.
Now, to wrap this article up, in his quest to distinguish between the natural and artificial limits of life, Nagalios created an army of horrifying zombie animals that forced us to question the meaning of the word death. To Nagalios, it seems death was no longer the opposite of life, writes historian Chung, but in fact was just a phase between one life and another. So there you go, Mr. Jean Cesar Nagalios.
And I can just picture a young man many, many years ago reading this story and getting things in his mind and like, well, this is so interesting. And it being like a young George Romero that, that comes up with Night of the Living Dead. And
for sure. Yeah. I mean, again, this stuff, as horrific as it sounds, I don't want to say inspirational, but influential for sure. In so many different, genres, including science. And I'm not saying science is a genre, but you know what I'm suggesting.
Right.
Now, on this note, Mike, and we'll briefly discuss this before we wrap it up. And kind of segueing into the idea of the ethical boundaries of AI, Mike. I mean, to me, it can be a wonderfully helpful, powerful thing in a positive manner, right? This creation, this AI, but it's also terrifying.
Yeah.
In a very minimalistic and simplified manner, these experiments are very similar to what we're doing with the creation of like artificial intelligence, especially these human-like, I don't want to say beings, but my gosh, how else would you describe them? I mean, people can how long is it going to be before you can rent a buddy to come hang out with you?
Yeah.
And they're totally AI.
Yeah.
And
there are movies made out of things like that. I mean,
for sure. But I mean, where do we how far do we go with this, and where are the ethical and moral boundaries to this? Because it is totally playing God, regardless of where you stand on religion and belief of any sort. But
the mechanical AI stuff, I mean, I don't know. It's not like they're living, breathing, created beings. It's like they're, if people want to look at them as like they're no different than like a toaster. They're just like a lot more to them.
Yeah, I know. I don't think people are afraid of toasters taking over the world.
Right,
they're afraid of these creations.
It just depends on how self-aware they could become and how could that happen.
Right?
How can that? Hey, things happen. Life finds a way.
Yeah. And that's funny that you said that you quoted Jeff Goldblum there, because I was just thinking of another Jeff Goldblum role in The Fly, because a quote in there where he says, "Computers are dumb; they only know what we tell them."
Exactly.
Yeah. That's still true to this day. But how true is that going to remain?
Right.
You know, when you make them unbelievably intelligent, you make these AI creations so quote unquote intelligent, will they in fact develop the ability, as you said, Mike, to become self-aware and want more than, so to speak, and they don't want to be just simply creations at the hands of us.
Exactly. A good example, if you've ever seen the movie I, Robot, I believe it is.
Sure. I haven't seen it, but I know what you're talking about.
Wonderful example of that, whether you like the movie or not. I enjoyed the movie. It was pretty good. But, you know, that there's a chip that was designed by this doctor or whatever, the scientist that was going to give this, you know, I hope I remember it correctly. I could be way off, but, you know, it would give the robot a self-awareness, you know, more like a sentient, you know, existence. And that robot that had that, it's like it became self-aware. It felt emotions and everything, and it was really a good story.
Mike, is Earth destined to be ran by artificial creations, artificial intelligence, as the human race disappears? Do you think it's destined for that?
I don't know, man. I hope not. I don't think so. I
would hope that we would have I would hope we would be reasonable enough to put a cap on it, right?
Yeah.
You know, and I'm not talking a ball cap on top of an AI creation. I'm talking about we have to be aware of limits. But again, am I being ignorant? Probably. I don't know. It's all in the name of science.
There's always should be that cap or be those limits, but then again, there is always going to be the one person that can be in the position sometime along the line that can make the difference of it moving into the next step where you don't want it to be.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
You know,
for sure. Yeah, we don't like those folks.
So,
but they're always there, right? That's just a sad fact of life.
It's always going to be. Yeah, I don't care what generation, how many eons from now. There's always going to be those people.
Mike, this has been a blast of an episode. I mean, that sounds kind of sick in itself. You know, we're talking about horrific medical experiments, and man, this was fun. But you know what I'm saying. Time flies as per usual when we're having a good time, but I think we're going to wrap it up. Mike, thank you so much for making the time available. I know you're a busy man.
Oh, yes. I've been so busy since I've been forced to retire that I'm just besides myself.
You're besides himself with
laying
the busyness.
on the couch with my dog next to me.
Why do you keep calling Mary a dog? My gosh, you're talking about the dog. Sorry.
Yes.
Bad joke. Mike, it's always good to see you, man. You know, and again, I always say this too, to those listeners who have made it this far, thank you. Yes. We love you. God bless you.
God bless
everyone. If you've made it this far and you enjoy the program, hey, subscribe, leave reviews, give us those 5-star reviews. Those help quite a bit on your whatever podcast platform you use. Leave those reviews. They go a long way. And if that just isn't enough and you just love us so dang much, no better way to support us than to give our Patreon page a try. You can sign up for as little as $1 a month. In fact, some episodes are free. You can check it out for free if you want to. No obligations. Free. Yeah, as little as $1 a month, and you have access to all of our exclusive Patreon content. It's pretty cool. We're pretty proud of it. We're nearing our 500th exclusive Patreon post. We have well over 100 Patreon exclusive episodes. That includes our Retro and Random sub-series and our Wicked Legacies True Crime sub-series, as well as our Patreon exclusive episodes.
Hey, Mary,
well over 100.
Mary, bake a cake because we're getting close to our 500th Patreon episode.
No, post. There's a difference.
Oh,
Post.
you know what I mean.
So our next Patreon episode will be number 98. So we will be closing in on episode 100. But again, it's confusing because we're well over 100.
Posts.
Okay, I'll let him go. He's yelling at Mary now. So.
I'm just kidding.
Mike, thanks in all sincerity. This was a good one. I had a good time. Time flies when you're having fun, doesn't it?
It does. It does. Very much so. Yeah. It tingles after a while.
It tingles a bit. I still have a few. I still have some digital audio to go through from our latest feeble attempts at paranormal investigating. But you never know, man. You never know. Something might pop up, and I will keep you posted for sure.
That's right. We shall.
Awesome, Mike. Until next time, my friend, what do our pals need to do?
Nothing really. Peace out.